Well, hello friends, and welcome to another WSIB Truth Matters, where I separate the truth from bullshit, facts from fiction, in plain English. And I have a topic I'm going to talk to you about today that I think has been on a lot of people's minds for a very, very long time. So let's get at it. And we're back. Welcome, friends. This is Friday, and as you know, I like to start off the weekend with my lemonade with lots of ice, my special cocktail. And it's delicious. So today I'm going to talk to you about something that's been on my mind for a while, and I'm sure something that most of you have thought about it, particularly those of you who are going through a claim right now with the WSIB, whether you're just beginning with your claim or if you're into it for a year or more. You've probably noticed the ongoing revolving door of case managers. I hear this all the time. I have members who tell me that they've had 8, 9, 10 case managers in the last 2 years. Every time they change something up, it's another case manager. And they don't seem to know what the other one or the previous one was doing. And it's frustrating, right? Because, I mean, come on. You feel like you got to start a whole new relationship and explanation process with this new person when seemingly you were just getting to understand each other and you understanding the process with the previous one. And then you got to deal with this bullshit all over again. And, I've looked at it, my friends, very closely. I've analyzed it over the last many months, probably over a year. I've reviewed hundreds of files. And for my YouTube channel and, of course, word of mouth, because my paralegal firm, at one point, we had over 10,000 clients all over the province, so well known. So I get tremendous amounts of requests for help. And so I get all of this feedback, and it's consistent. I just got my new case manager, and we were just starting to get the whole return to work process going, or some treatment was being provided or authorized for psychotraumatic disability, or some type of treatment for the injury, and on and on. And now I got this new case manager, and what does that mean? And then they get this new case manager and the shit starts all over again. So it's frustrating and it's very difficult to hit a moving target. And those of you who have hunted in the past, I certainly did when I was young, back home in Portugal, both spearfishing and hunting. It's not easy to hit them when they're moving. It requires skill. And so this continuous change in case managers, what is it for? What is the purpose? Why do they do that? And, I've come up with some ideas. It can't be a shortage of resources because the WSIB has an endless supply of cash flow. So they have the funds to hire professionals, people who are well-trained to make sure that they have the capabilities and the knowledge and the experience to manage claims, to handle WSIB claims. And so it can't be that. I mean, the money's there. And they can keep going back to the pot because, well, unlike any other businesses, it's law. If you're a business and you want to do business in Ontario, you have to pay into the fund. The and you can't get away from that. You just can't, or they'll put you out of business. So the WSIB has an endless stream of income. It's not like any other business where they have to, pay for advertising. They have to spend money in branding. They have to, spend money in social media marketing to keep their brand out there. They have to do other marketing initiatives to bring in customers so that they can meet their operating costs and hopefully make some money at the end of the day. WSIB doesn't have to do that. And so why is it that they keep changing case managers? Well, is it to frustrate injured workers and to keep you from or discourage you from pursuing your rights in an appeal or just giving up altogether? I think that plays a very key role in their reasoning. No matter how absurd and criminal it is. But I think that the biggest reason is weak leadership. You see, the president and CEO of any organization is responsible for ensuring that the organization as a whole, including all of its departments, all of its staff and employees, to ensure that they're meeting their goals on a regular basis, and most importantly, to ensure that they are conducting themselves in a manner that is professional, that is customer service being the number one objective, to ensure that their customers aren't looking somewhere else for those same services, and to ensure that the revenue is there to cover the costs of the operation of the business. So I've simplified it somewhat, but there are a lot of tasks, a lot of objectives that fall under the purview of the president and CEO to ensure that these things are happening. And in private business, the buck generally stops with the president or CEO, who normally, in most cases, are the owner of the business. And they have a vested interest in ensuring that those things that I just spoke of, particularly making sure that their customers are well looked after, is done. Because if it's not, customers look for business elsewhere and the business dies. That's what happens. Now, for presidents and CEOs in the public sector, such as with the WSIB, well, that doesn't change the fact that they are responsible for the operation of the business to ensure that everything is operating and moving smoothly, regardless of the 20 plus VPs that they have. And I don't know how many directors, but a lot, and managers, and of course, the decision makers, which are the ones that have the biggest impact on the business. Because the more inadequate the decision makers are, then the more the preponderancy for the cases to move upstream. The thing with the WSIB is that these people, these executives, like to push things off to appeals. It's kind of like flushing the toilet and trying to make sure that it doesn't come back on you. That's what they do. Because they want appeals officers to deal with it, because it's a much cleaner, much more strict process, less room for messy shit to happen. And you have a hearing, you sit down with an appeals officer, if you actually were selected to have a hearing, or you're getting a decision in writing based on the evidence, blah, blah, blah. And it's really a not very messy process, and nobody has to deal with any of the headaches of the complaints and concerns that injured workers are bringing forth. So they have that, and at least they think they do. But of course, I found a way to make sure that that doesn't happen with the cases that we handle for our members. But the other problem here is that I've identified is that there is zero accountability. Okay, zero, none or none whatsoever. I see case managers making the same mistakes over and over. Nothing changes. I see managers doing the same crap over and over. Nothing changes. I look at directors that I've known over the years and how they're conducting themselves. They just have their heads shoved up their asses for the better part. They don't really give a shit. They're going to collect their 100,000 plus a year, and you know what? Whatever. And then the manager or the VPs and everybody else, they just don't think that they need to deal with it, right? So then you have a lack of accountability, and you have an organization that believes that it is accountable to no one, right? And when you have that sort of thing, then you have what I refer to as a rogue organization, which is essentially what I believe to be the case with the WSIB. And I believe that to be the case based on decades of dealing with them regularly on a day-to-day basis, understanding their processes intimately, knowing how these people function, and understanding and having a very clear picture of who knows what the hell they're doing and who doesn't. And I can tell you, in my opinion, most of them don't. But they're never called to task. And therein lies the problem. So is this continuous rotating door or revolving door of case managers going to end anytime soon? Probably not. Not unless the province starts looking at what's going on in this organization and whether those at the top, the fat cats, have a clue of what the fuck they're doing. The only way that the province is really going to understand this is if somebody is kicking down the door, beating down on the door, making noise. And as all of you know, I have no problem making noise and kicking down the door. Right? Yeah. And I'm going to continue to do that. And that's why they absolutely loathe me. They'd rather see me dead. And that's the way I like it, my friends. Because I'm one of you. If they fuck with one of you, and especially if you're a member of my company, WSIBsettlements.com, they're fucking with me. And that's not good. So how does the province get to know about what's going on? How do they get the finger on the pulse, like I like to say? You know, to see if there's a blood flow there, if the ticker's working, if there's any issues with the ticker. Well, a lot of people think that the buck stops with Jeffrey Lang, the president of the CEO, and all of his cronies, all the way down the ladder. It doesn't. The buck stops with the Minister of Labor. And I'm going to get to that in more detail in next week's video. I'm not going to bore you with that on this beautiful Friday afternoon. But I will tell you, and this should make things, or make you feel better, that I have a strategy. I've been working this strategy for a while. It's starting to make people nervous. And we're going to keep working this strategy. Because you know what? No reputable business on the face of this planet, no successful business would conduct themselves in this manner, where they need to have ongoing recruiting, to bring in new people, to continue to rotate the people in the front and customer service and all that. They couldn't do that because they know how expensive it is to train new people. They know that. And so they do the best they can, and they do it to the best of their ability within their resources. And they do that effectively, and they remain in business, because if they don't, they die. Every successful business looks at having a legitimate effective, responsive service to their members to deal with issues in an acceptable manner, that both parties understand the outcome, and even though one or more of them may not necessarily agree, they respect the outcome. They have to have an understandable processes that people can identify with, that people can follow, and the average person gets that. But more importantly, they need to have transparency, and they have to have vertical accountability and horizontal accountability. That means accountable to those above them and accountable to their teammates, so that as a unit, as a whole, the company succeeds. This organization has none of that. Everybody's out for themselves. Believe me, every way, every step, right to the top, or up for themselves, or out for themselves. And if they're not, they will be tested, including Jeffrey Lang, with his $400,000 plus a year salary and generous benefits package that I can guarantee you 90% of you watching this video do not have. So next week, my friends, we're going to talk about a very interesting subject, because I'm going to start to enlighten you in this relationship between the WSIB and its boss. Because everybody has a boss. Everybody has to report to a boss. In my case, it's my wife, right? Don't tell her. She still thinks I believe that. The relationship between the WSIB Board of Directors, and the big boss, the Minister of Labor. I'm going to enlighten you on that because it's important. Because a lot of the people that I talk to, they throw up their arms and say, but Joe, how can we deal with this? Like, it's this big monstrosity of a bureaucracy. Like, who's responsible? Like, who owns the WSIB? Like, who do they report to? I'm going to enlighten you on all of that, my friends. It's been the strength of my investigation to know who writes the check at all times to ensure that my business has been sustainable over the years, despite their many efforts to take me out. But they have only fueled my determination to bring the fuckers down. All right, my friends, listen, if you haven't made your favorite Friday afternoon cocktail, you better go do that so the weekend can be a nice event as we all look forward to. I know I will. For those of you who are new to the channel, I hope you stick around and I hope that you learned something here today. I have over 160 videos on my channel that you can view that talk about everything from loss of earnings benefits, non-economic loss, future economic loss, pre-1990 claims, the whole gamut. And there's more to come where I will continue to talk about policy, legislation, analyze workplace safety and insurance appeals tribunal decisions, and bring this type of information to you that you're probably not going to get anywhere else, but that you should know. Because, my friends, as I've said before, the accountability drums are beating, and we're getting there. We are getting there, and they can hear us loud and clear. So, my friends, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. It's free. It won't cost you anything. Please share my videos with others, because my mission is to target every single injured worker in this province, to let them know that they don't need to stand alone. They can stand with us. And please visit my company, WSIB Settlements, because we have all of the resources there to help you in your claim with the WSIB, regardless of whatever issue you're dealing with. Believe me, we've seen it, we've dealt with it, and we can help you. All right, my friends, as always, have an amazing weekend. Until next time.